Welcome to Introduction to Digital Humanities. I'm Professor Maya Dodd and I teach in the Department of Humanities at Flame University. I'm going to go over this course and what you might learn from it. As an emerging field that studies the uses and impacts of technology on culture, the applications of digital humanities around the world and in India range from text to image and sound, and now to AR, VR, and immersive experiences. In this introductory course, we assume nothing. The course is an invitation to get to know more about these developments and perhaps even apply them to your own thinking and work. In 2020, we published the anthology Exploring Digital Humanities in India that came soon on the heels of the Center for Internet and Society's essay by P.P. Sneha, mapping the early days of the field. That work chronicled the institutional rise of adapting these practices, but since then, both technologies and their applications have brought on many changes. In 2024, Dr. Nirmala Menon and myself, we both came out with the follow-up anthology, Practices of Digital Humanities in India, Learning by Doing, which extended those explorations to questions of tools and projects. And in that work, we see many innovations, such as Srijan Mandal's essay on chatbots in public history, the rise of public history on Dakhini cultures through the Khirki Collective, the installation of the Queer Archive Kamra at the National Law School in Bangalore, and intersections of academic and public works through the Long Emergency Project, the work of Medhavi Gandhi at the Heritage Lab, and Vinayak Dasgupta's Recalling Jewish Calcutta. In this course, you will see how these works constitute digital humanities, or DH as it's called, and has often been used to create heritage projects, digital archives, the visualization of data, new kinds of mapping, publishing, and public humanities works in public history. DH has transformed textual analyses through TEI, text encoding initiatives, social network analysis, creation of digital corpora, and now through NLP. Apart from its utility in rereading the canon and by affording what scholar Franco Moretti calls distant reading, DH has new applications through multilingual computing in bringing in new texts and language cultures. This is very exciting for us in a multilingual country like India, where through the digital, literary and cultural offerings can now be in conversation with each other. In some ways, this is all very abstract. So let's get into some concrete applications. Take, for example, the case of Tagore's Gitanjali. A very celebrated text, Gitanjali is known as a cornerstone of modern Indian literature and won Tagore the Nobel Prize in 1913. However, significant textual variations exist between editions, and the Digital Humanities project, Bichitra, enables readers to compare different versions of Gitanjali, including manuscripts published, editions in Bengali, and Tagore's English translations. Bichitra's text encoding initiative framework demonstrates the complexities of cultural translation. The shift from the Bengali Gitanjali to its English adaptation was not merely linguistic, but involved recontextualizing Tagore's spiritual and philosophical ideas for a global audience. The digital archive, Bichitra, challenges the traditional view of Gitanjali as a single definitive work. Instead, it shows it as a text shaped by its author's evolving thoughts and the demands of a different, set of audiences. Bichitra, powered by TEI, redefines how we read and interpret Tagore's Gitanjali. It transforms the act of reading into a participatory, multidimensional experience, offering deeper insights into Tagore's genius and his negotiation of modernity, identity, and cultural exchange. Through this digital intervention, Tagore's work remains dynamic, allowing readers to explore its layers of complexity in ways previously unimaginable. Now for an example from Tamil. An excellent example of using NLP, which is natural language processing, in the Indian context is the project analysis of Sangam literature using computational tools. Sangam literature, a body of ancient Tamil texts, provides a fertile ground for studying linguistic, cultural, and historical phenomena. Through the NLP tools of sentiment analysis and topic modeling, we can discover recurring themes across thousands of Sangam poems. Through text clustering for comparative analysis. Also, through named entity recognition, NER, we can construct geographical and cultural maps of Sangam era in Tamil Nadu and extract and map references to cities like Madurai and natural elements such as rivers and mountains, as is done by the DH scholar, Professor Shanmuga Priya, who teaches at IIT Dhanbad. In the case of mapping, another scholar, Professor Deborah Sutton at Lancaster University, created something truly extraordinary in the early days of DH. Over a decade ago, recognizing that we in South Asia often use the mobile phone as our primary port to the internet, she launched a mobile app called Safarnama. Designed as a digital humanities initiative to create a spatial and textual archive of travel narratives in South Asia, it does many things. Safarnama combines geography, literary studies, and data and creates a rich layered understanding of South Asian journeys, along with a database of locations mentioned in South Asian travel narratives. Whether it's Bengali, Tamil, or Urdu, projects like the 2 Centuries of Indian Print at the British Library are unleashing corpora of texts that could not previously talk to each other. And in so doing, we are now presented with new tools and new ways to study all kinds of texts. A sample from these possibilities lies in the work of Professor Arjun Ghosh, and in this course he'll describe how he mined Wikidata to perform an example of social network analysis in the Indian context. Through his talk, I hope you'll see the promise of what range of possibilities exist. This course is an invitation to explore not only these tools and experiments, but also the very real possibility of co-creation. In that spirit, you will hear from several experts who have all voyaged forth into this brave new world and pioneered projects of various kinds. It gives me great joy to bring along my friends, students, and colleagues who have all offered so much inspiration for bold, new experiments in the world of digital humanities. The course runs into 6 modules and is accompanied by lists of further references. I will briefly illustrate what each module contains. The first module is an introduction to the field, and it's a very new field. It doesn't often make immediate sense to people, so I'm taking you on a very, very rapid ride with many stops to explain the field through a show and tell. So just, the sort of overview where we've been around the world, and there is an alliance of digital humanities organizations, ADHO. We'll detail what many countries and official chapters have been up to. And after that global tour, I'm keen to cover ground of what digital humanities looks like back home in India and tell you about some examples that are locally grown from both inside and outside the university. So basically, this drone view of these projects constitutes the first entire module of the course. The second module takes the specific example of archives. Digital archiving has been a very big part of the digital humanities and is particularly useful in the Indian context, where preservation of heritage, particularly in its digital formats, has been something of interest to many persons, not just in the academy, but all over the country. So for that reason, archives are given their own module and treated as one instance of the practice of digital humanities specific to India. My colleague Venkat Srinivasan at Milli Archives Foundation, which is an advocacy group for all kinds of archives in India, will detail the instance of the NCBS archives, where he serves as an archivist. The institutional sites of digital archiving, such as the NCBS archives, serve as very important sites for collecting history in modern India. And so in a way, their going digital has also opened up many collections to general audiences. Now, what can be done with such an opening up is something that my colleague, Professor Arjun Ghosh at IIT Delhi, will detail in his talk on visualizing the cultural history of South Asia. By now, I hope you might have noticed that without digital formats of data, many kinds of scholarship that currently exist would not at all have been possible. This is why my co-author, Dr. Nirmala Menon, will in Module 3 elaborate on the importance of building infrastructures for digital humanities in India. She will focus on ideas of open access, copyright, and the creation of the knowledge platform SHIP at IIT Indore, where she has built the first research group of doctoral scholars in digital humanities in India, and also runs the JP Narayan Center, which is a center for excellence in the digital and environmental humanities that has funded several projects. One of them is our colleague Shouvik Mukherjee's excellent work on Indian board games. Scholars like Shovik often span both the public and the academic, and in addition to his recent scholarly book on Indian board games, he also runs a museum on the same Indian board games. Now, this impulse to bridge the university and the public sphere is one we further discuss in the fourth module of this course on public history. I do want to note that the digital turn in the humanities has coincided with the turn to public humanities. And for this reason, I see the explosion of public history as deeply linked to the growth and spread of public humanities. I will detail one project that my university took on for the city of Pune, which is where it's located. Along with other experts in Pune, the digital archive PAHA, which stands for the Pune Architectural History Archive, the URL is paha.site, was created over 3 years and launched in 2025 through the marriage of public and private interest. Actually, Flame University, where I have taught since 2007, has been integral to my own boldness in venturing into digital humanities work. What started out with creative freedom as a pedagogical innovation in the classroom, this was over 10 years ago, has also led to the creation of something like PAHA, with full financial support, of course, from the university. Now, in a way, this digital archive that details the architecture of Pune city over a century is something we really need for all Indian cities, especially given the rapid changes of the past century. It is for this reason that my digital humanities classes at Flame also encourage students to start thinking in longitudinal historical terms. And so much of their work actually began from this challenging collation through databases and collecting. Some of these forays led to recognition, as in the case of the Garba archives, which won the John Burroughs Award in 2018, as it managed to capture Gujarati recordings as well as English transliterations of a very rare and rather uncommon genre of Garba called Betha Garba. In 2020, during the pandemic, another project called the Community Cookbooks in India project really caught the popular imagination as it detailed cookbook histories across different regions of India. It won the Open Scholarship Award in K from Canada and also the Sahapedia Mapping for Culture Award, and really made the news media sit up and take a look. Many more projects are detailed on my website, and I'm sure that the next generation of digital humanities scholars will certainly capture ever more history that is urgently in need of preservation. It is this school of thought, really, that my colleague Dr. Kunal Ray also draws from. And when he launched the site On Eating with his colleague Shobhana Roy, he, as well as another colleague, Dr. Jolad, will all detail their experiments with databasing, right, public history in India. And you can listen to this in that module. Today, there is no doubt that we need more platforms and more discovery to generate new knowledge. We also certainly need more inclusivity, and partnerships between academia and the general public make this possible. The fifth module will take on the big new monster in the room, which is AI, and look at what the humanities have been thinking about this challenge. I will begin by offering a very basic primer on what AI is, and this is really for people who don't have any clue to begin with, but really I'm looking at how it's impacted creations and uses of image, text, and sound. In the next module, my colleague, Dr. Menon, will detail the new field of critical AI studies and also the impact of big tech on society, on the environment, and AI harms. Finally, we'll end with the detailing of what else is possible for the future of DH in a world of AI. I hope you will ride along with us on this journey that might seem daunting, but is also full of promise, because as our book suggests, we learn by doing.